Welcome to the garden at the New Beginnings Aftercare Center. We started a garden this year, 2013, with high hopes, and we had a lot of learning, a lot of excitement when we started growing things and we got to eat them, and a lot of scratching our head, a lot of challenges, a lot of blessings and errors. So we like to share our process with you. We were inspired to start a garden project for a lot of reasons, and one is just to enjoy the beauty of the design, the aromas, the work, being outside, all of the joy that a garden brings. We wanted to bring that beauty here. There's so much unused space here, so much unused land. So we decided to create an herb spiral and a large mandala vegetable garden bed. We were inspired by the principles of permaculture, which is thinking about working with the earth in a system that it has closed loops, so that we're not producing pollution or waste, but we're creating cycles just like the earth creates cycles, where excess is cycled back in. So we have a compost pile, and we're practicing no-till gardening. We're excited to mulch and to grow plants that we can use to fertilize the soil with. So we're experimenting with a lot of these things and very new in our knowledge, but we loved our process this year. We are also inspired just to create healthier life choices. The chefs here are making a lot of healthier choices themselves, so it's been really fun for them to be able to come to the garden and pick fresh produce, pick fresh herbs, and also just to enjoy the aspect of a design project where we generate ideas together, where we brainstorm, and then we actually get to enjoy the manifestation of that project into life. We get to see something be a sketch on paper, and then we get to go walk around in it, and to enjoy that process together has been really enlivening. So we are here to show you around the garden and then to feast together. Welcome. All right, so this is the herb spiral, and we were inspired to create one. We read about it in Gaia's Garden, which is a wonderful primer on permaculture. So we built up a rock spiral, and the idea is to create little microclimates inside this little spiral, so that more Mediterranean herbs stay at the top and stay drier. They've sort of been crowded out, but we've got sage, and then we've also got lavender and thyme, and then lots of basil down, and the plants that need more shade or more water will find their little niche in the environment. And then we've got some mint hiding out over here, lots of nasturtiums that we've been enjoying, little edible flowers, delicious.
Well, I enjoyed the garden project because it gave us something to do in our free time, and I really enjoyed having somewhere to go for prayer and peace and solitude whenever I needed it.
Well, I think the garden project was an ambitious project, as it turned out. I never thought about doing raised beds. I always thought we might just kind of plant seeds in the ground and harvest the food. So this whole thing of the garden took a life of its own. I think that the neatest thing for me about the whole garden was the idea that so many different people came together with the idea of doing a garden in the first place, and then that we came together with the idea of dedicating the garden to Edith and calling it Ediths Eden. And I'm so excited for what I believe this garden is going to accomplish in the future in building community and causing us to realize that God is our source, He's our provider, and giving guys the opportunity to get their hands dirty, tilling the soil, and producing good crops. I think it'll be a great thing for years to come for the ministry.
I'm gonna harvest the hill.
Kale.
Hi, Joe. I'm gonna harvest this honeydew melon. That's honey. Yeah, that's honeydew.
Is it sweet?
We'll find out in 1 second. They're not done.
Okay, so we have some beautiful butternut squash. Look at that beautiful yellow. Now that I have the appropriate cutting tool, thank you, Joji. We're still not cutting right.
It's a saw. You got a saw.
I'm working on it. I promise I'm not weak. Maybe I am.
favorite part of the garden project was all of us coming together to do something, and that maybe we might be able to have something to keep going for future residents coming here.
We are harvesting potatoes now.
It's like this. Same. Like this. Right in there, keep filling the sticks at the bottom. Look just like this.
Teeny tiny potatoes!
He's cool. Couple stories I can remember about the garden project. One was the bird nest we had at one time, and then also the rabbit nest we had at one time. Right here in this carrot garden that we're picking right now, I also love this garden because I love being outdoors.
Oh, I have loved everything. I think just overall learning to reconnect to nature and be a part of the cycles of planting seed and just what soil is, like decomposing, and that just decay brings life. I think like seeds and plants are growing are so beautiful, so it's been really just such a joy to see things come up and to start learning the way things grow and what they need to grow. I loved when we got a whole bag of worms and Joe decided to show us how he could eat them. And wow, I really loved the process of visioning together and then seeing it come to pass. That was really fun and joyful. And just being out here with bare feet and singing and getting my hands dirty felt really, really good.
The grossest part of the garden for me were when Lindsay got the nematodes and the worms, and she kept them in our refrigerator in the garage, and I thought that was so gross. I thought they were going to come out and get me. But it was really fun to watch Monica and Lindsay picking off the cabbage worms. That was gross. But
Did you know that they brought the worms here and Joe G ate them?
yeah, I did. I heard that. That was gross.
Another aspect of what's been really important to me is just how hard it is to learn to grow our own food. I'm getting really excited about eating food that I know where it comes from, eating food that's local, eating food that's organic, because it's important to me not to pollute our earth with pesticides and all the fossil fuels it takes to transport food from faraway places. But like actually going from that being an idea to putting my labor into it, I realized how challenging it is to grow food organically, especially like, you know, coming out here and picking off every little cabbage worm and then having to squish them or learn about what we can do to keep them out of the garden. It's just been really humbling because we get these tiny carrots and we're excited about them, and then you get a carrot from the store and you know, it's a difference. And so yeah, it's a big one. It's a really big one.
Biggest one yet.
So it's so fun and humbling. And
Then we get these little guys.
it makes all the food that we do eat so sacred, and it really means something different to bless our food for me.
The kale. No, I don't know. Probably like meeting you guys and getting to come here in the sunshine and enjoy this beautiful earth we're given.
I feel that we did a good job with the garden, and my favorite part is getting the help. I got to help compost, and I got to help on the spiral and plant.
I'm gonna harvest these cabbages.
I wasn't here.
This one right here.
I just got here.
Because you didn't come outside on every day.
Here's a little garden friend. From the research, I think he's going to be a black swallowtail, and I think that he loves dill and parsley and fennel and that family.
This is fun.
We're harvesting the cauliflower. Let me see the cauliflower. All right, then. Let me get a good shot of the cauliflower.
I love the garden project. I think it was really exciting to watch Adam and Lindsay go from ground that was just covered with grass and dirt, and to make a beautiful garden with all the circles, and then the herb garden with the rocks. I thought that was really beautiful, and I liked the excitement of both of them especially, and then everybody just watching it go from ground to a garden, and how pretty it was and how productive. So that was I love the garden project, and I liked how everyone to differing degrees has gotten involved with watering and doing the sunflowers, and you doing the photogging, and it's just been fun to see how it's helped bring everyone together.
These I just threw too.
Oh, do you guys want to get the corn? Look at this, look at this, look at this. This is so cool. Okay, so the back side of the leaf is just totally normal, except it pinched a little funny. And then the front side, it has like little leaves sprouting from the center.
That's awesome.
So I don't know what kind of radiographic crap you guys are on.
You're harvesting the turnip.
Anyway.
So I'm seeing if any of the popcorn that we grew is going to be delicious. We grew
Holy cow, that's
a Dakota black popcorn.
That's turnip.
So there's some pretty kernels. They're tiny ears, but that might be kind of delicious. Whee! Pop, pop, pop. Movie time.
I'm now harvesting the tomato.
And you just wanted to use for like a little heart.
I figured that. We'll use some of the leaves.
We're gonna help. Look at the clouds, look at the clouds, look at the clouds. Oh my gosh, it's adorable. Aha, tiny.
No, there's a tomato that's rose green.
Actually, yes. I mean, in the ways I picking flowers.
Picking flowers.
Now we know for next time, right? I should be around for that.
Nice.
Oh, here's the bell pepper.
I'm gonna take plastic. My little sunflower garden.
All right, these are potatoes from the garden. I'm making a fried potato, smoked sausage, squash dish today for everybody. So it's gonna be turned out pretty good. These are the onions and peppers that's gonna go in there. Here's the smoked sausages that are going inside the dish. And here's all the fresh squash. We have to put this in last so they don't get mushy. There's gonna be a nice texture to them. Season with a little seasoned salt, garlic powder, salt, pepper. I'm not going to put too much of a spice on them, so it's going to put everybody alike.
You need a chair? Where's you go? So whenever you're done, you can, should we put those on it? Just watch them.
And then we put them to work.
Okay, so estos son ingredientes para la ensalada. Sí.
What's all this thing?
So I missed Spanish. I know. We're just gonna do it when other people are around. Like we're starting to need, like, whatever. Okay, so we'll do the tiny tear. Tear and do salt. My pepper is in my red bag. I've got that Spanish CD that my mom gave us. Oh, nice. My CD drive doesn't work. I'm gonna see if they have one. Do you guys have a CD player?
You got garlic in here or do it?
Put half in there.
Like,
Something in the straw.
these greens are gonna shrink down.
Yeah, I like the garlic.
More
We have
garlic?
lots of stuff.
No,
So even if we don't have enough supper and have a giant portion, we've got greens and coleslaw. Oh yeah, we've got fruit salad.
Put a tad more brown sugar in it.
We do it.
Here we're roasting some red peppers. This is going on the rustic Italian burgers. I'm roasting a garlic bulb. I'm roasting a little fennel. I want to use the fennel. It's going inside a grilled fruit salad. I'll be doing that next after I get the peppers done.
We're putting the kale in the stock.
These are collards and turnip greens and beet greens. We sort of just cleaned out the garden. And then we also supplemented it with some delicious collards from the Blue Moon Organic Farm in Urbana. So I think making a big pot of greens is kind of like vacuuming or cleaning. It's like feng shui in your garden, just like taking off the leaves that are ready to go. Yeah. We have a ham hock in here, lovingly deboned by Joe, professional pig handler.
Hi.
That's one thing I'm grateful for Italians for is roasted red peppers. I am.
Something good.
Or who started it? Did Spain start or Italians?
No, it's people.
Whoever did, man, they.
Whoever like had a fire and a pepper.
Spain didn't have anything except for rabbits and olive oil trees, or olive trees. So.
What's up?
Is that the cantaloupe from the garden?
Yeah.
This one is.
Oh, the other little bit one?
I'm not sure. Is this one from the garden too? Yeah. Oh, yay! So this one is too.
Both are the teenies. Both teenies.
Hey, well, you know, I was very impressed by the garden project. Its sort of form and function. When I first saw it out there, I just thought it was going to be a traditional garden. Then suddenly I noticed as people were building it, it had a design built into it. And then I liked the way that they put the cardboard down to put the mulch over so grass wouldn't go through. So it's just really impressive. And the way also that the mounds help hold in the water. So that's the thing, I never really got a chance to
Well, check them out, dude.
be a part of it because I really came to work here later on. You know, one of my fondest memories here is actually meeting a guy named Peter. Because I walked in the first day and met him, and he was getting ready to go to college, and I really was able to watch somebody turn their lives around. He's in college now and working on a degree, and I was just very impressed by him. So those kind of, when you see somebody turn their life around like that, become successful, is really rewarding to watch.
So that's what my kids are used to. But now, if anyone gives them anything with blood,
Or really bad.
yeah, I'm like, I gotta have everything like well done. Else I'm afraid to do it. See, and that's how I raised them. I did that to them.
He found her birth mother. She was trying. She had other children. She refused to tell him who the siblings were for this transplant. He had a bone marrow transplant. She's in the court.
There you go.
Found a good man. He's alive.
I gotta guess that.
That's a man burger right there.
Yeah.
I usually forgot.
Get off all down. You got to look at early. Just get your good stead. 5 by 4 o'clock, actually. So it's a good time because, like you say, usually this is long. So it's Monday till 11 o'clock. Then pick it tomorrow morning, then pick it Tuesday. It's even worse because I get,
Now you made me look like I'm all alone. Hey, Pete.
They don't sit.
So we wanted to honor all the different contributions. One of the biggest things I noticed was that a lot of times, like, you know, you have an idea of how you think a project is going to go. Like, everybody, we're all working in the garden together. And then you hit reality, and reality is obviously different than you think. And the biggest takeaway I have from working and being here is the inspiration that I have received from each of you all. Because at first I was like, why isn't anybody out in the garden? It's because y'all are working all the time and doing classes all the time. And I learned so much from your perseverance and from your willingness to try even though it's hard and face frustration or face failure and get out there and do it again. And so we just really appreciated getting to know each of you and each of your spirits. And even if you weren't out there working all the time, we wanted to honor the contributions that each of us made to making this a beautiful place that will continue to grow.
And that was part of it, was it wasn't just going out there to work every time. That garden is supposed to be a community place where you can go and think and be tranquil and just calm down from your hectic day. And a lot of you guys got to use it that way already, even in its first day. It's great.
Totally. We had a lot of fun and a lot of laughs. And lots of people made it happen. And so first we would like to honor Barb Miller, compost extraordinaire!
I have more in my car right now, people.
We want to honor you posting because every time I came into the office to talk about it, and I was so excited, you really received my enthusiasm. You asked questions, you came out here, and you brought your family out here, and you helped us feel like we were seen, and it felt really great. And so thank you. Also, our compost is rich and delicious.
It's a win-win. I nurture and compost. Okay, next, our beautiful compost friends at Job Connection. Hey, friends.
Thank you. Glad we could give back.
The first award goes to Zane, the curious caterpillar.
Yay, Zane!
Zane, do you mind coming up for a picture? Come with us. Look at matches his shirt.
It matches your
Okay,
shirt.
thank you, Zane. Zane was our first garden volunteer. He came out and he would ask questions, and he helped to plant the entire herb spiral. And he always followed through with the jobs that he got for him. We could like trust him to go do something. So that was super fun.
Cool, Zane.
Next we have Peter, il paparazzo.
Paparazzo!
Please put your badge on, paparazza. Peter, I want to see it. I want to see the badge, the paparazza.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah, Peter didn't really like to get dirty that much, but if it had design involved or if he could bring his camera to it, and he's telling our story. And next up we have our beautiful women in, where did they go? I guess Brenda and Vicky. I'm going to give you Vicky's to give. I'm going to give you Brenda's, sorry. I'm going to give you Brenda's too, so you can give. But we loved how you were always willing to, well, not always willing to try our produce, but she actually didn't try the nasturtiums, but she did try the cantaloupe and she thought it was delicious. But they were also always ready to receive our excitement and to capture our pictures and put them up on Facebook.
Thank you. Can you hold up your awards, please, so I can?
And I do really know your name, I promise.
Yeah, I know you do.
She's her father's child.
Thank you.
All right, we do not have her here, but dear Samantha is best cross-pollinator training. Our friends Carol and Barb remember from our little cross-pollination walk, Delio, that we dressed up as Butterfly and Bumblebee, and
You're still wearing the bubble.
exactly. And we gave her some wings, and she was being really, really awesome about that. And I love glitter, so.
Monica was divinely inspired.
Good one for Samantha.
The next one, this person isn't here. I don't think. Is Big Joe around today?
No.
Big Joe gets the willing workhorse award because he was always like willing to do the hardest jobs and work for the longest. When we'd be like, we have this pile of mulch, he'd be like, great, I will do 27 loads. And he would just like tell jokes, and he totally has this attitude of getting it done.
I'm just trying to take some
so much.
We now have Robert. Where was he?
Robert.
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 Maybe?
One left.
Well, anyway, he
Robert pulled a Bill Scott.
Okay, well, he's Potato Pal because him and Ben the other day in the garden, we had a lovely potato experience and learning about nematodes, kind of, and how mulch and compost mix to make beds with potatoes and how that affects their growth.
And also, Robert's like way under behind the scenes, like potatoes. You don't really see them, but then you unearth them, and there they are. And Dennis, you get our mighty eagle overseer. You're on high, and you take care of all the details. So we just thank you so much for your she's a big picture. And if you want to see
Glitter on her.
There's no water on it. Okay.
Robert's name.
Excuse me.
The next one is Trellis Tim.
Isn't that cool? It's got even metal.
So it has a little mini trellis because that was one of the first projects I think I worked
Trellis
with
Tim.
with.
Here we go.
So
Isn't
we
that
had
cool?
some beans and they tried to grow. And if you look closely, there's one little bean pod.
Like our beans.
And Tim carefully wove this trellis that will be ready in place for next year's crop.
Wonderful.
All right, ray of sunshine. Where you at?
All right.
So this guy came in and he tried to be all like serious and play all stoic at first, but then we found out he's a total joker. And even though you just got here, we are so happy that you're here and gracing us with your presence. And you better go get some apple pie.
I've been holding up doing it. They still
The next glitter award goes to Nancy, the strong sunflower, who isn't here, unfortunately. So you noticed how awesome our sunflowers are, and that they're so strong the soil can't even handle them. And they fell.
And we love that characteristic of Nancy, of her strength and her like tenacity, her ferocity. The next one you have to be a garden nerd to get. Ben isn't here, but we give him the Beneficial Nematode Award. Beneficial Nematode. Beneficial nematodes are organisms you cannot see that create a healthy soil and eat other organisms.
just like Ben.
So just like Ben.
That's what
Really-
that she had in the house. Invisible.
Can't see him right now.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Hey, Bill. Hey, buddy. So we have the original herb sage. Here's our little plan for you. Because you were telling us all these fancy things about herbs, and I only absorbed maybe a fraction of what you told me. But you know so much.
You're a sage,
Yeah.
a wise man.
Yeah, you pretty much made our garden taste good, so.
Otherwise, they just look pretty.
Let me give sage advice.
The early bird gets the worm. Our friend Joe was the first to spot all of the produce in the garden. He'd be like, there's a cantaloupe coming, there's new tomato on the vine, but there's a double meaning for this and the sunflowers that he's going to turn. But the double meaning is that he actually, you want to tell people at home what you did?
I did a lot actually. I decided to play a little joke with them, you know. When we got the earthworms, I knew they were clean because they came in that package through the mail. So I'm gonna put one on my tongue, let it roll around on my tongue while she was taking pictures of it.
It was awesome. Yeah, I'd actually never
But
had.
I've been there since the garden started though.
Yeah, he was Bill and Joe were among the first crew. Bill, Joe, and Adam were the first crew that named the garden. And actually, maybe that's where we should go next.
Okay, well,
Thank you
Miss
so much for
Edith
being there.
is not here at the moment. Do we have the thingy? Okay, but we gave her an award. It was the Mama Hen Award, pretty self-explanatory. She's also the aquatic specialist because that lady has put so many hours into watering all of the beds here. And I was primarily focused on the big ones. I'd come and do like a hit and run and get those guys in the back. And she'd always make sure that she took care of the Jesuses, or the Jesus in bed, the big sign bed. And she just made sure she was coordinating all that stuff.
And so yeah, she is the mother hen to us all, and so we wanted to name the garden after her. She's not our original brainstorms, we just had this moment of eureka when I think it was you or Adam, somebody.
It was both of us.
Yeah, it was just like we were brainstorming about the reasons why we wanted to create a garden, and one of the reasons, I mean a lot of reasons, to have healthier produce and to create a design project that we could get a lot around together to create more community connection. But one of the reasons was it's been a big transition. And so I don't know, Dad, if you want to say anything about the transition or about Edith. We'd love to say this to her, but we also.
Well, yeah, I mean, the obvious benefit or goal was to present this to her. But, and you know, Vicky's been here with her forever, and so Vicky will appreciate this. You know, this is a big step in her life, coming from her home to the ministry, and she had a desire to have the garden. And you know, some of the young guys who were here talked about garden. In fact, Lindsay and I were talking about a garden last fall, about doing this garden project here, and then she's thinking about coming home, talking about coming home this spring, and she says, well, you need to find out if there's any interest in this garden project in this ministry whatsoever. So I come over here, and I'm over here, generally speaking, at least once or twice a week, and all of a sudden, there's all these seed pods and all these plastic containers all over the building. It's like these guys had this plan. Edith said, I want a garden. They jumped on it, and so it really came together. And we're just really, I am believing there's not only going to be the sign at the head of the garden, I believe there's going to be a big mural on the wall there that's going to say Edith's Eden.
We've had that plan since the beginning.
This whole ministry has been her life for, 30 years. 30 years, and we want to bless her with a place where she can look and she can meditate and thank God for His provision. Amen. Amen.
And most tender-hearted MVP mustard seed planter. I love my dad a lot, and a lot of my personal motivation for coming home was to just connect with my family. I've been off doing my thing for a decade, and it feels really great to be home and to be part of each other's lives on a close scale. And I have just really, I have received a lot of goodness, and my sister's just really important to me. I love watching it, and so it was really fun to be a part of it. And I thank you that you trusted, that you're like, sure, yeah, take these resources and do this. So thank you. This is you are a big part of why this happened. And last but not least, snot. I'm not sure what to call it yet. It's had a lot of names. It just says yes, but
the Holy Triangle.
The triangle. It was a triangle. Oh, Monica came along. Monica and I just met, and she came along right after Adam had gone, and Adam is like superpower, in the garden all the time, and I was like, whoa, this is gonna be really different. And then Monica's like, well, I love the garden, sure, I don't know, yeah.
The wet
So
triangle.
the garden for each of you, because you do give so much love to the garden, and the garden said something for each of you. Oh, there you go.
And I would love to introduce Pastor Carol, who we met in the garden at the Bethany Park. And so if you'd like to say anything about that garden or just the potential for cross-pollination.
I just am so honored to be invited and to experience the enthusiasm and the Spirit of God in this place. It's wonderful. And I want to thank the guys that were part of giving some of the pastors a tour out here and then coming out and looking at the Giving Garden at Bethany Park. We had a great exchange of ideas, and you can be sure that we're going to be talking to you about wanting to incorporate some of what you're doing. All the food we produce out there is going over to the Community Service Center and it's given away. It's not a community garden where people have to come in and work in order to get the food. The concept is that we need to learn to give. They can get along without that food there. It's wonderful for them to have that fresh food, but we need to learn to work and give away. And some people don't seem to understand that concept. They're like, well, people should have to work to get the food, and we're like, you're really missing the point. The whole point is that we as Christians need to develop this spirit of generosity. And the exchange was so much fun. Thank you for that. I think we can do more together.
Well, I've known Lindsay A. Scott for a long time. Since she was probably a fourth grader. Does that sound about right?
She's about 5 years old.
Yeah.
5 years old.
4 years old. Yeah, very long. And she's always been passionate. She's always been enthusiastic. And I believe she's always been a person that's very difficult to say no to. Well, when it's an idea from God, when it's something that connects and brings people together, those ideas just stand out. And what resistance is there for something like that? There isn't. I met Monica through the process. I've talked to her a couple times. She's been very faithful, very in touch with everything. And it's just been good to know Holy Spirit. And in our life, that spark of life brings a creativity, a wholesomeness. And the more you have that spark of life within you, the more you have to offer. And I believe that spark in us is the same Spirit which raised Christ from the dead. So in bringing this together, it was, to be honest, I had to do basically nothing. She did so much. Bill did a lot. The guys did a lot. And it just came together. And it was just such a unique, if everybody's seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Just the style, the pattern, the garden was just not out of this world, but I'd never seen it before, in this world. And I know where that comes from, through Lindsay, through how she communicates with God. And so I'm just very thankful that we could have been a part of this. This ministry can be part of it. We are blessed. The garden has also, I think, brought in more people, and that's one of the main things I wanted to do, is build the base of this ministry broader, so that more people see what's going on, more people hear about it, more people catch the enthusiasm that we're here for a reason. Life is meaningful. When you help people, life is meaningful. I try to put things together that is going to propel this ministry into the future. And the garden, I think, is one of them.
Amen.
I've got a lot. If you know, I've heard a lot of comments about the garden ever since it started. Ever since it started. So what I'd like to do is, I have two things in my hand. And they represent items for two recipients. So if Lindsay and Monica would come up here. And let me give this to you. A small token, because I know what you have put into it, and believe me, anything that could be given, but I think if we measured it in hours, could not compare with what you've done.
It's been all joy.
I know. Your enthusiasm has just been infectious.
So good.
Thank you very much.
Here.